Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Wednesday, July 30th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the Well Point Studios here in beautiful, historic, and still quite hot and steamy downtown Lowell. But fear not, cooler weather is ahead. Unfortunately, it's coming with a little bit of rain, but what the heck? We're New Englanders. We're going to complain about the weather. Too hot, too cold, too in between. We complain about it. That's what we do. But we got something to complain about today. And I'm joined here in the Well Point Studios by my regular Wednesday co-host, former Lowell mayor, city councilor, former Lowell high school headmaster, Bill Samaras, now media pundit Bill Samaras.
As long as they don't say former Bill.
As long as you're still here every Wednesday, right. We're happy. And we're glad to have you here because we want to go a little bit in depth today and talk about the ongoing Demoulas family market basket saga, which has got some more news. Just yesterday, a new story on WCVB-TV Channel 5. Last week, some of the local politicians got involved. A letter fired off by Methuen Mayor DJ Beauregard, interim Mayor DJ Beauregard. And then the next day, the Lowell Mayor, Danny Rourke, and the City Council all signed on to a letter of support. And there are some new developments there, but it's just I don't know, what do we call this? Is this like a Greek family tragedy?
It's a tragedy. There's no question about that. I mean, you have a family that's contributed so much to the quality of life of the people in the city of Lowell, and because of their growth, they've done the same in so many communities all over this part of New England. And what I see, I can't believe that we're looking at what we see.
Yeah, it caught everybody by surprise when news broke in May of the latest family squabble, but some of the details last time I felt like we had a better grasp on what was going on. This time there seemed to be a lot of questions. So I want to take today's show.
It was clear because there was another part of the family that filed a court situation, created that situation. So it was a battle that was fought out in the courts, and it had rules.
Yeah, 2014 was the culmination of a decades-long battle between two cousins whose fathers both were kind of the people who helped, found the company and grow it along with the grandparents. But this one is... it seems to be some kind of an inter-family squabble between a brother and sisters and some brother-in-laws who are on the board. And we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to get in depth. And we're going to talk a little bit why Market Basket, and in particular Demoulas, because many of us still call it Demoulas supermarkets.
We do. You're right.
Is so important and so special to Lowell and to the community, and why this has the potential to be a disastrous outcome if it isn't resolved in the way that, well, most of us think it should be resolved. Let me just quickly thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. Ray Booton, he's a licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He's also a certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, you need to get in touch with Ray Booton Stat, and you can find him online. realestaterayBooton.com. That's realestaterayBooton.com. Thank you as well to WellPoint. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you to WellPoint. Thanks to Ray. Got some other sponsors. You know the dealio. We'll thank them in a few minutes. But let's get to the latest developments on the Demoulas family saga, the Market Basket saga. Yesterday, Arthur T. Demoulas, the man who many credit for turning this into the regional supermarket king that it is, spoke with WCVB-TV Channel 5 News. After last week, a couple of his top employees, who he credits for being a huge part of the supermarket chain's success, were fired by the board of directors. So when Arthur T. Demoulas spoke to Channel 5, he did confirm reports that the two sides are headed to mediation on September 3rd. So we're about 5 weeks away from mediation. That's news because it means, all right, they're talking and they're trying to find some kind of resolution, which
and
is
not
good news.
and not go to court.
And not go to court, where
Because-
the only person who makes money is the attorneys, right?
A lot of attorneys.
Yes. Is that why it kind of hit me? Is that why we haven't seen the threatened walkouts and it's customer strikes that boycotts that we saw in 2014? Is it because there's this mediation and everyone wants to kind of stay cool?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of information, real information, hasn't come out to the public. But the thing is, with a modicum of intelligence, you can sort of surmise what's going on, in the families. But it's about money. When it's all said and done, it's about money. Okay, and the issue is, I absolutely do not believe there was any intention of any type of walkout. One of the things I did hear was that there was a possibility of this has been 10 years since that walkout, that he was going to acknowledge and thank the employees for their loyalty and, just have a program where they celebrated who they are, the loyalty to the family, and wish everybody well. There was no rumor of any kind of walkout, because actually, let's put it this way: the way things are, if he wanted to walk out, all he would have to have said is, "I want to walk out." It would have been done that day.
There were people contacting me that night. I remember it clearly. Yeah. I was sitting in the gym at the daily school, my son's basketball practice, and my phone blew up. And people and everyone's like, "What do we walk out? What do we do?" And people were ready to go there, and they didn't. And what's interesting is one of the reasons given for putting him on paid leave was that he was organizing this walkout. As you said, if he wanted to organize the walkout, the formula was already there. The battle plan was there. Could have been done like that and would have been done like that, right?
All he would have had to say, this is what we need. We have these type of issues. This is what we need to do. It would have been done. I've talked to so many people who felt guilty at that point of shopping in Market Basket. They said, should we be shopping there or not? And the thing is, a lot of people, a number of people that I talked to said, I hope this is resolved. Why? Well, I'm really not shopping at Market Basket. And it's costing me a fortune where I'm going. I don't want to mention the other supermarkets, but the thing is, it's affecting, their lives. But the thing is, I don't see any intent, but the idea of their firing employees and the threat. What I see and what I've heard from people that I do know that work for Market Basket, they feel threatened. And they feel if they say the wrong thing at the wrong place, that they'll be fired, they'll be terminated.
So interesting point. Here's my theory. There was never any talk of a boycott. This was, as you said, it was about money and things going on behind the scenes.
And they use that as an excuse.
I think they threw the boycott thing out there to try to stop it because they knew it would come. And you know what the proof of that is to me? They've hired this high-powered law firm to do the investigation. Quinn Emanuel is the law firm that's been investigating Arthur T. Demoulas and whether he was organizing a boycott. It's been 2 months.
Yeah.
How long does it take? I mean, the Mueller report. Yeah. Honestly, is he Robert Mueller? Is he going to find what's he going to find? I think they did that intentionally to try to stop it. They kind of put everybody in a rough spot where, like, well, if we walk out, are we helping make the case that they were making? So everybody's kind of holding their powder, waiting to see what happens.
I think you're correct. That was just the intent. That they have no proof that was going to happen, but that's their That's why we're only defending ourselves.
Yes, we're trying to protect the company
We're
from
trying to
these
protect the
actions that
company.
will damage it and destroy
But
it.
meanwhile, they're firing people because of their loyalty. I mean, they've been abrogating the rights of many of their employees, and they've made statements like, if something happens, not to worry because we will be the company that we are. Wait a minute. They're firing people at will. They're taking away their rights. People that they've fired, they have said, you cannot enter a supermarket. They can't do that. That's illegal. I mean,
So they won't even let the fired employees shop there because they're so paranoid of what? Them getting a positive reaction and somebody going up and shaking their hand and saying hello?
Yes, but the thing is, you can't do that. You can deny them from going into their office and using a computer, a company computer, but you can't deny because Market Basket's open to the public, not a select few. It's open to each and everyone. Okay, but the issue is, we go back to what's out there. What has he done that is so heinous that it would cause this?
So that's the question, and I'm hoping, and you have a history with the DeMoulas family, certainly more than I do, and we'll talk a little bit more about their history and what they've meant to the Greek community, which both of us are a part of, but also the overall Greater Lowell community and any of the 94 or 95 communities they've opened a store in. But so what is happening here? As best we can tell, in 2014, Arthur T. DeMoulas' sisters jumped on board with him and helped him, provided some of the money necessary and the support necessary to buy out the quote-unquote evil cousin, Arthur S. DeMoulas, get him out of there. Once and for all, settle this litigation that's been happening for decades. Right, wrong, Judge Maria Lopez, whatever. It was finally over in 2014. And it was over because the sisters jumped in and helped. Correct. So what could have happened behind the scenes that would make them now turn on the brother that they helped rescue in 2014? It can't be about a succession plan. Let's be honest. Who else do you think is going to run the supermarket? When the grandfather founded it in the early 1900s, he had his two boys take it over. That's how it works, right? Unfortunately, George DeMoulas passes away. Telemachus, Mike DeMoulas, has his son who was in those stores 20 some odd hours a day. He takes it over and builds it. Side by side with him are his two kids who are there in those stores, a constant presence in those stores. It's only natural that they would take over. Who do the quote-unquote sisters or the board of directors see taking over this family-run business? Who would be more qualified other than the children of the guy who built it into what it was? It makes absolutely no sense, Bill.
But to people who are looking at control, the one issue is there's a lot of money involved.
You said the key word.
And there's another word, control.
Money and control, yep.
Okay, and the fear of losing that control. But let's go into what has Arthur T. created, if you think about it. He's created a supermarket chain that has some of the lowest prices in the industry. Yeah, I mean, you can, and I've done it shopping, in Market Basket. I know my prices, and if I'm out of town, I have to shop somewhere else. I've spent $50 to $60 to $70 more in another store for the same products. So what Arthur T. has given is to people who use the EBT cards, they can buy food and create meals for their children at home. What else has he done? Their profit margin, even though he gives some of the lowest prices, is considered one of the best in the industry. But what's he doing with that money? He's doing what his father and his uncle wanted to do, expanding the company, building new stores So that a lot of that profit doesn't just go into their own pockets, but it goes into creating more jobs, more stores, upgrading the stores that they have, and doing something like that. And then he has some of the highest paid employees, and they're not part of a union. I mean, it's something where the Demoulas family has been given jobs to people that they can raise a family and live. I mean, so what's he done? He's established a high quality of life for so many thousands of people. And the issue is, I think within the family, they're looking at and this is a belief, and it has to be that I have. It's about money. And the one thing I've heard that they're upset that he hasn't automated the stores. I use the term automated, where less employees at the register, and you can
to make even more profit.
And,
Which that's
and they
that's
want
what this is. We're going to find out. That's what this is about. Money, and how much is enough money, and how do you make money?
That's right.
I guess people like you and I were like, if I had a stake in something and you were running it, and every year I was making a nice little profit. I was getting money for really, I don't know, doing nothing, sitting on a board, whatever. It's like, I said, thank you, Mr. Samaras. I'm going to be in Jamaica or on the island of Santorini for the next couple of months. Just send my check to directly deposit it into this account.
The company's worth several times more since the lawsuit.
Yeah, they repaid that. Remember in 2014, people were wondering, where is he going to, how is he going to pay this off? He's going to have to raise his prices. He's going to have to change his business model to repay the debt on this.
Very much so.
And he didn't. He kept the same corporate philosophy, didn't automate, and paid that money off in 10 years. So whatever it is working. So you said it's about money. Can I throw another 5-letter word out there? Greed.
Yeah.
Is it about greed?
I'm afraid.
Greed? Which is it?
I'm afraid. That's the only thing you can say, because of what and how they're doing it. I mean, for them to fire employees because they fear them, they fear their loyalty to one man. I mean, they didn't fire them because of the quality of their work. Because if you go into stores now, you're going to find the stores dirtier. I hate to say it, but the store, in Tewksbury, it's dirtier. In plain English, it's not being maintained like it should be. If you look at the people, I mean, I think there are, especially full-time employees, they look stressed.
It's such a
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not being run. It's not being run the way Market Basket is known to be run.
I can't say I've spent enough time in the supermarket since then, or even before then, to notice. But I have gone in, and I have gone shopping to a number of different stores, and the things that stand out to me are what you said: the lack of automation.
Yeah.
Everywhere else you go, Target isn't technically a supermarket, but it is.
It is.
But you walk into a Target and you'll see 2 cashiers and 8 self-checkout things.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy standing there watching the self-checkout machines, and I'm thinking, just put him behind a cash register and make our lives easier. But, that's probably making it more profitable, right? And yes, could Market Basket be more profitable if they went to automation, if they didn't have, besides a cashier at every cash register, a bagger at the end of that line? Yeah, you could make that argument. I could also argue that you change that corporate culture, and maybe why should I be loyal to Market Basket now? They just laid off the 16-year-old kid who got his or her first job bagging groceries at Market Basket. Or, look around at some of the folks they hire. There's some of the more disadvantaged people in our communities, in our neighborhoods. Go to the Market Basket on the corner of Fletcher and Broadway and look around. Where else are some of these people going to work within walking distance of their acre neighborhood grocery store? Yeah. Nowhere, right?
Correct.
And he's providing them opportunity and a very nice paycheck, by the way. They're getting paid as well, if not better than any other supermarket. So where do you think they're shopping?
Yeah.
They're going to shop at those Market Basket stores and the Market Basket store that employs them. So you're giving more money to employees, but perhaps that money's coming back in to your store and helping to just cycle that wealth, keep it within the family.
That's the thing. I mean, they're building supermarkets in some areas, some we'll say tough areas, but
there was no need to have a supermarket on the corner of Broadway and Fletcher, the Acre.
Correct.
But that meant something because it was close to their first store their original store, but then the first supermarket on Dummer Street. But also that helped revitalize that neighborhood. You wouldn't be caught dead walking in that neighborhood beforehand. You remember it. I grew up there. And we moved out because of that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, some may try to consider him saying, well, he's old-fashioned and the industry's changed. He's acknowledged all of those issues. And what he's saying is what has made this market where it is today and continues to help its growth. I mean, its growth rate is outstanding, is the fact that they're service-oriented, price-oriented. Mm-hmm. When you look, we talked about Mandami in New York, a socialist, a communist, okay? What's he talking about? One of the things he wants to do?
State-run food stores, City-run, I apologize.
City-run food stores and what have you. I mean, that's because he knows there are a lot of people who are angry about the prices that are in supermarkets, the lack of service and what have you. And the thing is, what he has done and what he's part of, whatever community they're in, he has tried to work with the community, help the community, makes significant contributions that no one hears about in the various communities, such as Lowell, and what we're all better off because of it. So the thing is, in his arsenal, if he has a lot of weapons, and the weapons are his customers, his employees, his own members of his inner family, but the various towns and cities that he's worked in. He's got such a good reputation. But the thing is, obviously he's not using any of them because we're all people. If anybody has met him once, they're getting calls saying, "Well, you met him once. What's he like? What does he want?" Everybody's trying to figure out right now, what does he want? How can we help? And he hasn't reached. I'm not aware of him reaching out.
Yeah, he's always been, as you mentioned, he's always been very private. He does not like people to know about all the things he does behind the scenes. But again, those of us in the Greek community know it, and I bet if you talk to anybody who's been at City Hall in that corner office, whether it's Golden, Donahue, Murphy, Lynch, Cox, whatever, they all know what Arthur Demoulas has meant to this city.
The Lowell Plan couldn't do some of the things that the Lowell Plan has done without him.
And now what's heartening to me is while we haven't seen the boycott and the employee walkout yet that we saw in 2014, as you said, that is in the quiver, right? if the September mediations don't go well, I do think you'll start to see customers say, well, that's it, we're severing the relationship if Arthur T. Demoulas isn't a part of it. But we are starting to see some of the politicians now step forward because I think they understand the danger in their communities and to their workforce. I want to talk a little bit about that and so much more. And Mr. Samaras has some personal stories to share about the time that you decided to choose a career in education and politics. You could have been one of those people fired by the board of directors last week. We'll tell you that story first. Let me thank my Daily Pulse sponsors. You know about Ray Booten, licensed realtor, certified appraiser in Mass and New Hampshire. Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to WellPoint at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that goes the extra mile. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on to protect its most valuable assets since 1982. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Question is, will they keep doing that in 2026? Story on InsideLowell.com. Some speculation the Pirates might be leaving. We certainly hope that doesn't happen. No confirmation, no denial either from the Massachusetts Pirates organization of that national report. Stay with Inside Lowell. We'll keep you posted on all that, but we certainly hope we have the Pirates back here, and we hope the community can get behind them and support them to keep them here as well. All right. So how does this end in your mind?
Well,
Mr. Samaras?
Here's the thing. I think if this law firm is as credible as they're made out to be, they would absolutely not find that he ever was contemplating anything like that. That this was not part of his plan. To reward or to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, possibly yes. Okay? But the thing is, if the family doesn't smarten up, I think it will go the way of where the corporation would have to be sold at some point. Some people, they'll be able to put some money in their pocket, a lot of money. But the thing is, they'll have ruined their reputation, and they'll kill the golden goose.
They'll have destroyed the corporate culture that has become so special to the people who are part of it and the communities that they are involved in.
How about, and so needed. We need this kind of leadership. If we look at politics today, if we look at what corporations are doing to people, if we look at the Mandamis, I mean, I never thought I'd see a communist getting the right to run for office in this country at the level that he's received. We're in trouble.
Yeah. So in 2014, one of the things that struck me was how the politicians, the elected officials, all sided with Arthur T. DeMoulas. I remember Tom Golden being at the rallies out in the Stadium Plaza parking lot. I asked him, how come you're out there? He was a state rep at the time. Nikki Songus, I believe, was a part of those. You saw a lot of people get there. Up till last week, they had stayed kind of quiet. Sure, everybody, had their thoughts and they'd say them privately, but there were no public statements, no official statements that I'm aware of, other than, let's get this resolved if we can. But then last week, Methuen Mayor, interim Mayor DJ Beauregard, sent out a very strongly worded letter to the board of directors saying, hey, get him back in his spot, we demand it. The next day, the Lowell City Council, led by Mayor Danny Rourke, sent their letter out, which again we published. You see it July 25th, last Thursday. We published on InsideLowell.com. It was a great
an appropriate letter.
It wasn't anything demanding or it wasn't anything acrimonious, but it was clear, hey, look, Arthur T. DeMoulas' market basket as far as the city of Lowell is concerned, all the other stuff aside.
And his philosophy and his work ethic are all something that we appreciate. Yeah. But I'll tell you about the council. One thing, everybody, I do know, the entire council, they were calling each other up. Yeah. What do we do? And calling everybody that knows somebody that knows some member of the family has been calling and trying to find information, but there's really not a flow of any kind of information out there. There is no source that anybody can go and say, I know what's going on. You can only surmise. And what we're looking at is, as people who've worked with I've been mayor of the city, headmaster of the high school. I mean, give you an example. I became headmaster, and the economy took a Dixie there, and they needed some money. I went out to see Mike Demoulas, and I talked about needing money for student services and what have you. And he gave me some money with the condition that I tell no one.
Yeah.
That's
always the condition. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
You just did, by the way.
But and then I'll never forget. He said, "Oh, by the way, do you know who was sitting in your seat an hour ago?" I said, "No." Is this 20 questions? What I do? I said, "I really don't know." And he said, "Paul Songas, the senator." Oh, how was he doing? Well, he had some problems. He came in here and we talked about him. That's who Mike Demoulas was. I mean, somebody that a lot of people went to, not only for money, but for some advice. And when I look at Arthur T., I've met him on occasions. He's helped us with the Greek school. He's helped us with so many different projects. I've been able to
helped with the Greek school.
Yes,
he and George McRockers have basically kept those doors open for the last 30 years. They redid. Who are we kidding?
No, help made it work. Oh, okay, but the thing is, Arthur T., he's someone who has his father's skills, financial skills, and his uncle's George ability to work with people and make them feel good about themselves. Because George was like that. George, I mean, each brother had a strength that they used together, and together they were very formidable.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I had heard that Mike Telemachus was very difficult to work for. But George, so it was George who was actually the guy that the employees kind of went to?
It was... Mike, if you came in, they would jump to attention into a store.
And a store better be clean if you walk into that store.
But the thing was with George, they didn't feel like they had to jump, but the thing is they stood, and he was able to work with them. But Arthur T. has those skills, and the thing is. He's one of the most unusual business people I've ever met, and I've been in a position where I've pretty much dealt with, the leadership core of the Greater Lowell area, and I've been impressed with a lot of other people, but no one has been like him.
Well, he's old school in a lot of ways. Again, you walk in there, his baggers are wearing button shirts, collared shirts, and ties. There's a certain professionalism that's expected of their employees, but it's often, for many of them, it's their first job. My wife's one of my wife's young cousins, 16 years old, his first job, Westford Market Basket, and there he is. He's in his button-down shirt, his tie. That will serve him well, and anybody else who works in those stores.
Absolutely.
You learn work ethic, and it is hard work. It's not easy. There's no, they're not on their phones texting all day long in the market baskets, but it serves them well. It gives them a leg up in the future, understanding how you have to be to, get hired. When two people are looking at you for a job, you see something before you even talk to them.
But when we're talking about this situation, you can only surmise that why is the family doing this to him? It has to be money.
Those people cost
Why would you destroy this? Why would you take someone who every so many years is doubling your wealth? I mean, and we're not talking about you're going to have another $10 million. You're adding billions of dollars to your total wealth. Not millions, billions. That's where he's at.
And it's also, I mean, this was that kind of employee and customer loyalty in 2014 was the stuff that they were talking about at business schools. I remember talking to UMass Lowell business professors saying, we actually talk about this in our classes. I remember Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail in 2016 talking about that story and how it showed that you you can be good to your employees
Yeah.
and still make money and make
Make a lot of money.
And how many stores have opened since then, right?
Yeah.
They were in the, if I remember, they were in the 80s, weren't
Yeah.
they? And now they're at 94 or 95,
That's right.
if I'm not mistaken. So clearly the model is working. Clearly the communities are in support. That third paragraph of the letter, I thought, from Mayor Rourke and the Lowell City Council. Throughout his tenure, Arthur T. consistently prioritized the well-being of his employees, ensuring that they were treated with respect, paid fairly, and provided opportunities for growth. This uncommon commitment to his workforce inspired a rare and powerful loyalty most visibly demonstrated during the 2014 employee-led protests, where thousands stood together in unwavering support of his return to leadership. That movement was a testament to the trust and admiration he earned across all levels of the company. Perfectly spelled out there. by the Lowell City Council.
And make it simple, his employees realize that if he's gone, it's gone. And any promise made by the family saying, don't worry, everything's remain the same. Well, this indication is they're firing people and taking away their rights. And they're firing people not because of their lack of skills to do the job, because of loyalty. So what does that say to you as a prospective employee or as an employee that's been working hard?
The two most recent ones were, let me get the right names here before I butcher the names here in the story. Joe Schmidt and Tom Gordon. They were fired. Now they had been outspoken. Because I've heard them on the Howie Carr show and whatnot, and they said in those management meetings in the management office, they would tell them, like, what are you doing? You know, you guys are promoting people to positions who don't know how to run the supermarkets, and they finally got frustrated and went public with with it and were summarily dismissed last week. These two guys, Arthur T. DeMoulis says these guys are the cream of the crop when it comes to running a supermarket. He gives them the credit for being as much a part of the success of Market Basket as anybody else is. You can't lose that kind. You can't lose RDT, then lose two of his top lieutenants, and there have been others, and expect that supermarket to run the same way. I almost feel bad for the people they're putting in those positions because they're set up to fail.
No, of course, right? Of course they are. Because the thing is, I can only surmise that down the road they plan to sell out as soon as they can, and they see their bag of gold, and that's what they want.
So, do they want to? Did they want RDT to buy them out? Is that what they wanted, or did they want it to? Did they continue to want to be a part of the board, to continue to be a part of the profit sharing and whatever agreement, but they wanted more of it?
I mean, if you read, I mean, some of the, things that I've read or heard, everything would have been all right if they had absolute control over RDT. That's what they want. They got 60%, so they want absolute control, and they want him coming back and saying, can I build a store or I can't? Okay. How does he operate under those conditions?
Again, if he was opening stores and they were losing money and subsidizing those failed stores from the profits of other stores, I could say, all right, they maybe have a point. But that doesn't appear to be the case. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards where you are. This is about greed. This is we're making money, but you know what? We could make more. If we ran like a Hannaford's or a Stop and Shop, we could make even more money.
So we want you to hire less employees. We want you to automate the stores more, and we're going to do better. You can't, so the thing is, you can't be the general. If you're the general out there, and you're getting calls in, well, don't do it this way. Only use half your army right now. Put the rest to sleep for a while. You can't do that. And the thing is, there's another part that he's very successful in. If you notice, wherever he's doing something, like Stadium Plaza, he's talking about bringing in home goods, okay, Chick-fil-A and other things. He also is a master at negotiating with major chains to come into his shopping centers because, one, they know they're going to have traffic, and it's going to be a high volume of traffic, and it's going to be well-maintained shopping centers, and they'll go with him. So that's another thing. He brings in quality companies.
He does, and part of that is he kind of reinvents those locations, those neighborhoods. You talk about Stadium Plaza. Just look at Pawtucketville.
Yeah.
An area that was pretty much abandoned, where the newest store in Lowell is now. And you can see where that is going to expand it someday, unless they kill the golden goose.
Yeah.
And as you said, you'll see other chains in there.
But if you want to meet some people of, relative importance, go and have a coffee.
That's right.
And Market Basket
when I was first talking about Inside Lowell, I set up a meeting with former Senator Steve Panagiottakis, and he's like, meet me 8:30 in the morning at Market Basket in Pawtucketville. So I went, and then I saw the whole crew of people. Everybody important goes and meets in there. But they're community places, community meeting places. They support the community. And that's also something that was important.
That's rare.
The fourth paragraph in the Lowell City Council letter shows this. Arthur's leadership goes beyond business. He has always shown a deep commitment to the communities Market Basket serves, especially in the city of Lowell, consistently supporting local initiatives, charities, and families in need. That last one, probably the most important part. His humility and genuine concern for others are quality that set him apart in the corporate world. So I can't tell you how many people have said to me when they're trying to start a business that they would talk to Arthur T. DeMoulis and he would help them. I can't tell you how many families in need he's become aware of and done things behind the scenes to help those families out, to support them, to give them a chance to get their footing and rebuild their lives, their career, their home, whatever needed to be. And that's the stuff you lose in the corporate culture. In the corporate culture, you're just a number. What's the bottom line? If it's not what we targeted, then somebody up there needs to go. Doesn't matter what happens to their family, doesn't matter what happens to the community. And it comes back to me again, look at the people he employs. Walk into that store on the corner of Broadway and Fletcher. These folks, some of them don't have cars. I see people walking to work at that store constantly. You're giving them an opportunity to get a job, to build a life, to get a fair wage, to feed their families, and then to advance with the company. How many people we know? I look at a kid who I remember as an 18-year-old working the overnight shift. I used to play basketball with him. He worked the overnight shift at the Bridge Street store. He's now a store manager, 30, 40 years later. These stories are countless.
No, they work hard, but they become part of the community too. It's something else. But when you talk about even Stadium Plaza, if you're in the area long enough, and you'll see a lot of people walking out of Stadium Plaza, going down Roger Street, carrying bags. I mean, I'm seeing more than I ever have. People walking.
Yeah, interesting. You were before we hit the record, you were telling me a funny story. You actually worked for a supermarket.
Yeah,
a young Bill Samaras.
Going to college. I mean, my parents had a store. That's another story with them. But I worked for Stop and Shop. And
you worked for Stop and Shop, not DeMoulis.
Not DeMoulis. And I was through, and I graduated from Boston University. And I met George DeMoulis, and George talked to me about, how did you enjoy Stop and Shop and what have you, and they have a nice management program. I said, I had a chance to do that, but, I was thinking of law school at the time, and, what have you. And I said, he said, well, why don't you come to work for us? And I said, George, graduate from, no offense, but I graduated from VU. I mean, I didn't do that to, my parents would kill me to go work in a supermarket, and that was the last of that.
You could
And
you could have been the high-ranking exec that got fired last week
So-
by the board of directors.
when Stadium Plaza opened up, Mike DeMoulis was, in the store, and I saw him and I congratulated him for the store. And I said, I remember the time when your brother offered me a job with you guys. I said, I think I made a mistake. Billy, follow me. And he takes me to this guy. He says, he's relatively new in his job, but he's head of the dairies now. How much is in your 401k? Oh, Mr. DeMoulis, $310,000. Then he's, come over here. Spiro, come over here. He's in vegetable. He's been, how much is in your 401k? Oh, Mr. DeMoulis, $497,000. Then he took me over to somebody for the meat counter. He's been with us for a while. How much is in your 401? Oh, $690,000. But and finally, I remember saying to him, "I give up. Stop."
Now, mind you said this is when he opened Stadium Plaza, which was when, in the 70s?
Yeah, a long time ago.
50 years ago, we're talking $600,000, $500,000 401ks.
I had
Boy,
pennies.
did you screw up.
I had pennies in the bank. Okay, I could point to a $10,000 savings or something like that. But I said, I give up. And he just smiled. He said, you're doing well. And I said, yeah, I'm doing well.
You chose the glamorous life of education, politics, and now podcasting. So, all right. But again, these are the kind of stories that, people have. That people fondly
So many
remember.
people have so many stories about working in one way or receiving some type of help from a member of the DeMoulis family, especially Mike and George, especially Mike. And everything that they did fell into Arthur's lap, and he understood it better than anybody and just made it really part of his whole life.
He kept it going.
Yeah.
I can tell you how hard it is to keep a family business going.
Yeah.
Just going. He not only kept it going, he expanded it again into the envy of certainly the New England grocery store chain. But I mean, there are probably people around the country looking at it and saying, I wish this was the kind of store that we worked for or we ran. Well,
right now, I would say a lot of the major companies are looking to say, pick up the pieces, are hoping that it falls apart, that they break apart, and they can come in and buy it.
Yeah, that was the talk in 2014, right?
Yeah.
That the Arthur S. would somehow wrest control away for good. And the talk was, if I remember correctly, it was Hannaford's or somebody was just waiting in the wings
because he
to take it over.
He wanted to buy a sports team. I mean, that's where he wanted to put his money, allegedly at the time.
And it was, I still shake my head thinking that we went through all that in 2014, and 10, 11 years later, here we are.
And we have what we have.
Here we are again. And I just hope that ultimately whatever happens in this mediation session, if there's a dollar figure that will make everybody happy and go away, and hopefully there's a financial way for Arthur T. to be able to come up with that and then just kind of have control of himself. I think that the thing that surprised me the most and many people was that when we saw the resolution in 2014, we said, okay, once and for all, this is his company. I think we were all shocked to learn he had a minority stake in it, that the board, the sisters combined and their husbands or whatever the case, actually had controlling interest, so that when they bonded together, they were able to overrule him. I was stunned by that. I figured 2014 was about ending that, and finally Arthur T. has control and he can run the market the way he wants and the way the community kind of likes. Let's hope that when it's resolved this time that we actually do get to that point.
I mean, if the family has a modicum of intelligence, they should realize what's happening. If they don't, it will destroy the company, but they won't benefit from it.
Egos and greed have destroyed more than one family and more than one company. Again, as far as I know, none of them have really worked in the supermarkets. I don't know why they want control. Have any of them like?
Oh, they're different.
They were
involved in, the giving away of monies and things like that.
Sure. They're but in terms of the day-to-day, when you open a new store, that's a years-long commitment. Plus, you better be in that store 10, 12, 14 hours a day.
They're not doing that.
My understanding is they're not a part of that. I'd be happy being in Santorini for 2 months every summer and just keep sending me that check. If you start losing money, we can have a conversation. But as long as we're making it, I don't get it.
The check keeps getting bigger, and their worth keeps getting bigger.
Is it ever enough?
No.
Greed. That's the 2 5-letter words: money and greed.
Yeah.
Let's hope it plays out well. Bill Samaras, as always, thank you for joining us here. Hopefully, next time we have this conversation, it's better news for our communities and for the long-term well-being of that supermarket. Because I am afraid that if it doesn't go well, Arthur T. won't need to direct that walkout. I think it's going to happen. I've talked to enough people who are ready and willing to do it. Every time I put a story on social media, you watch the commentary that comes in on this podcast. There are people who say, what are we waiting for? Let's do it now. Let's not wait for them.
That's what I'm getting. A lot of people, they're ready to go.
And that's why I think it's laughable that they're blaming RDT, saying he was trying to organize one. Because if he wanted to, it had been done already. I actually think he's holding everyone at bay to see if he can get a more peaceful resolution to this.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I mean, that shows you his intent was to do the right thing. I mean, I think he was caught by surprise, real surprise. I mean, so that was what they did. They planned it in the dark.
We'll see. The Mueller investigation will uncover all.
Yeah.
Any day now, 2 months to investigate whether somebody spoke to somebody and said, let's have a boycott. How long does it take to investigate that? I could have investigated it more quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway. Bill Samaras, as always, thank you. We'll go tick other people off.
Okay.
We're not going to be invited to the sisters and brother-in-law's next
I don't think so.
Are we?
No, I don't think so.
I was never invited to any of them anyway, so I don't mind pissing them off. Thank you for joining us on today's Daily Pulse. We'll be back again tomorrow. We're back every day. The Daily Pulse, the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it, drops at noon every weekday here on InsideLowell.com. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, stay cool, and I'll see you on the other side.